Ask about me. Investors ask about me. I'm a hustler. I'm a hustler, homie. I'm a hustler. I'm a hustler, homie. Investors ask about me. Investors ask about me. I'm a hustler. I'm a hustler, homie. I'm a hustler. I'm a hustler, homie.
It's on. All right. Welcome to another episode of Late Night with Chuck Daddy. I got my longtime friend and guest here, Mr. Nick Tang. Say hi to the crowd, Nick.
Hey guys, how are you?
I'm pretty sure they're pretty good, Nick. So, listen, we're going to get right into it. Everybody knows you're into real estate. You're a networking phenom. And I kind of want to get more into your personal life and just let everybody get to know you better and kind of fall in love with you for what you are. I know you and I have had some pretty interesting conversations, but maybe it's time to tell the world. So why don't we do this, Nick? Take me back, man. Take me back as far as you want and give me a little bit of history about your life. Tell me where you've been, and somewhere you got to throw the fucking story in there about the Pirates, because that's awesome. Telling that shit from stage. So,
well, since you mentioned the Pirates, I'll start there.
I'll go before the Pirates. Come on.
A little bit before. I don't actually know much.
Okay.
I don't actually know much before the Pirates. Because I was so young. I was like 8 when I was going through my pirate journey, and I didn't really even notice it. Because my parents, they migrated to America from Vietnam, and my dad was a business guy in Vietnam. I don't know what happened there, but we had to escape, and on our journey to America, we had to we couldn't just fly out, because I think the government was after my dad. He had businesses that he owned, and they just wanted to take it over. They would, whatever reason, I don't know, but we couldn't fly out, and because we couldn't fly out, we had to sneak into Thailand. And the journey to Thailand was a rough journey, because it's not like we can just go to any boat and go into Thailand. We had to use these fishing boats that we had to pay for, stay underneath the boat, an area where like it's below, like where they store all the fish and all that stuff. Like that's where we stayed for days. And
they smuggled you in.
Yeah, they smuggled us in. Yeah, 100%.
All right, so here's a crazy question, because I've had some fucked up experience dealing with like a lot of Chinese people in the garment center and even real estate. They ever used the term snakehead?
I've never heard of it. I've heard of it in the video games, but never heard of it.
No, is this just somebody who smuggled somebody into the U.S. and then you're like an indentured servant for a number of years?
No. They just smuggled us into Thailand. Yeah, like we had sponsors and everything to get us into America, but we had to get out of the country, and so the first attempt failed, and we got caught by these pirates. And again, like I was 7. And I remember seeing these people with guns, and my mom and dad my uncle fortunately was also with us. They told me to be calm, don't worry, nothing's gonna happen. And so to me, when I saw the incident go down, and it was just my family getting captured, like there was no one else on this boat because it was a small boat. And they took all.
Exactly like fucking Captain Jack Sparrow here either. I mean, this sounds like some serious shit.
It's so interesting because I was so young. I didn't know I didn't know what, I was 8 at the time, or even 7. And I didn't know if it was like a normal thing or not a normal thing going on. I just knew my parents just shared with me that, hey, you got to be quiet, you got to behave. And then they went through the procedures of searching us, making us give all our valuables. But again, I didn't even know what valuables were. And then later they took our boat. They gave us a boat that like had a bad engine, and they just pushed us back into the water to kind of like figure out for ourselves where to go.
And you have no idea why you had to go.
And I didn't even know what just happened, but at the same time,
yeah, but I mean, to this day, you have no idea.
I never, the weird part is I never asked my parents about exactly what happened. And
Nick, but both of your parents are still with us?
Yeah, both my parents are still with us. And that's
do me a favor, because we got to do a part 2. Like, ask your fucking dad, because this is good.
Okay, I'm down with that. Yeah, like I it's like I always think my parents are gonna be around. Because of that, I never ask, but I really should ask because I've heard other stories where my mom was captured with my sister, and I don't even know when that happened.
Yeah, you told me this story in 2010, and I haven't forgotten it. It's sitting here 2022. Like we're sitting in my
Yeah.
You told me, like I gotta know more. Like I want to take this kid out to lunch and just ask him questions about pirates. But keep going, man.
Yeah. So like I didn't even know what was really going on. I was just a kid. My mom and dad told me it was like they treated it as like it was a normal thing. And so I was just like, okay, just going through the normal process of things. And then we eventually got back to the shore. My mom and dad asked for more money from their parents. And then we attempted the trip again. And the second attempt, we made it into Thailand. But the boat that brought us there, same boat or same kind of boat, they couldn't go to the shore because if they did and they get spotted or get for transporting illegal immigrants, they could get in trouble. So they dropped us off like in the water, a little bit off the shore, and my dad didn't know how to swim. So and everybody else did except me and my sister and my dad. And out of nowhere, like my uncle was able to find like a piece of wood that was large enough for him to go on. And then because of that piece of wood, he was able to kick off of that, like float with it and kick towards the shore. And I went on my uncle's back. I held on to him, and he swam towards the water, and eventually we made it to the island, or wherever we were. But I remember that night, my parents were. I always ask my parents about that night, because I remember that night very well, and I also remember the pirate incident. But
I mean, this is so much cooler than your typical like fight on the playground bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, none of this is normal. But the funniest part about that night is, you ever see that movie?
I don't know what the fuck is normal anymore. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I got half the kids working for me now, still trying to figure out what gender they are. So I have no
Right.
idea.
That's the new normal.
Yeah.
But so that night, right? If you ever see the movie Life of Pi?
I love the movie. My mom has actually drawn several odd comparisons to me and the kid in that movie, and I was actually talking to my wife about it the other day. Just found out what a cassowary is. We still got to watch it together.
So in that movie, like again, I didn't remember this stuff until I saw it, and I don't remember even the pirate incident until I saw movies later on about pirates, right? But that night is like Life of Pi when he's on that boat and he's like hallucinating or whatever. He saw all those. He saw like as if the night like lit up into life.
Yeah, it's a trippy movie.
So for me that night, I saw all that, and I asked my parents later on, like, hey, I remember that night being really bright and beautiful, and they were like, what are you talking about? It was like dead night.
So it wasn't like a bunch of bioluminescent creatures dancing around.
Nothing. They told me none of that. It was
there was
just
no rowboat, no tiger, nothing.
Nothing. Anyway, we made it to the shore. Once we got there, we didn't know where to go, and so we just stayed there. And then as morning came, the water rised, and I don't know, we saw this guy swimming, and we yelled for help. He came over. He told us, he walked with us 2 miles, like towards this one direction, and then he just like disappeared. We didn't know where he went. But we just kept walking that direction, and as we kept walking that direction, we ran into a house that we felt like we should knock on their door asking for help. And because of that, we were given water, food, clothes, money, and direction to go to the refugee camp. And so that's how we made it to the refugee camp.
So the people of Thailand were very welcoming to the people of Vietnam.
I don't know. I just know that we got really lucky.
All right, Nick, go get your dad. You can take the rest of the off. I want to talk to your parents.
My parents are crazy. Yeah, they have a amazing life experience as well.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta promise me something. Like, you gotta ask your parents more about this, because this is such a fucking cool story, and like, I feel like this is some shit you're gonna tell your kids about. You need the details. Like, just
no, I agree. I mean, my family in Vietnam is also really interesting, because during like I was always told like our family was really rich, and then we lost it because of communism. And then when I went back to Vietnam, we became rich again. And it like when I went back, I was just thinking like, oh, okay, what is really rich like in Asia, And I went back there when I was 20, and like the movie Crazy Rich Asian, that's like how rich my family is back there.
I haven't
And I'm like,
seen the movie, but
I was like, this is crazy. Like, how did like we lost all like I was like, didn't we become poor like 10 years ago? Like, how did my uncle make all this money again? And so it's but then I came back to America because I didn't like it. I didn't like it because when you're in Asia and you're really rich, I mean,
there's nothing but
depending
Asian
on where
chicks.
you live, what happened?
There's nothing but Asian chicks. There's no variety.
No, it's not that. It's more like as rich as you are, and as wherever you live, as rich as you are, like once you exit that circle, like everybody's poor.
Yeah,
Like there's no
I
middle
remember
class.
Asia. No, I haven't
Yeah,
been to Asia.
yeah,
I've been to Brazil and Costa Rica and shit, and it's like, wow, we're in a $3 million condo next to a feed the children commercial.
exactly. Yeah,
And it's like,
exactly.
just the
It's not even
divine.
feed the children commercial. It's children. Like you can see them. Right? So I didn't like the drastic like environment that I lived, and so I came back. And I remember my uncle asking me, "Hey, can you stay? I'll pay you 20,000 US dollars, which is like ridiculous in Asia at that time,
Yeah, man,
a
maybe
month."
like $50,000 a month. That's
Yeah,
I can imagine.
at 20 years old, I was like, "What am I going to do with that money?"
I've looked. I mean, the only comparison I have to it is like I've looked at fishing trips in Thailand, and aside from like airfare and your guide, I mean, fucking food is dirt cheap. Everything's dirt cheap.
Everything
Your
is
room
cheap.
is dirt cheap.
Everything cheap. Even the guide and is cheap. It's just that because they know you're a tourist, they jack
Yeah,
it
you
up.
can get
Yeah,
overcharged. This
yeah,
there's some crazy rich Asian dude or some American on the other end who's sitting there and
exactly.
he's taking 95% of that.
Yeah, but even the amount he charges us is it's nothing for us.
No, absolutely. So what else can you tell me about growing up, Nick? Because I know there's quite a bit in there.
Okay, yeah. So that's that phase of my life. I think the big most interesting phase of my life is me being in America, um,
How
going to
old are you?
school, not good at reading and writing. For whatever reason, I never picked that up.
I can relate.
But like, I was really good at math. I was really good at anything I was into. Math, drawing, computers, investing in stocks. And I think a big part of my life came from meeting my first girlfriend. I was very, very shy, antisocial. I was, Asian kids were it's not that we're raised to be antisocial or like something like that. It's more like we're raised to uh like not have a girlfriend. So it's not that I'm shy. It's more like I'm raised to not have a girlfriend. And
But
because of
now,
that, I don't
now
talk to
your
girls.
hemp hand is strong, right?
I don't know. I don't know. But because you're raised and encouraged to not have a girlfriend, I thought to myself, hey, I shouldn't talk to girls, you know? And because I
You're never gonna get laid that way.
huh?
Because you're never gonna get laid that way.
To be honest, I didn't even know what that was. I never even thought about that at that time. And so I literally grew up that way. From like 9 to 14, 15. And then I end up meeting this beautiful girl who hit on me 3 times. And I kept running away from her because I was like, I'm not supposed to talk to girls, you
Well,
know?
she had excellent taste in men, though.
I agree with you. And she also kind of like set a standard for me. And after
Who,
meeting
who
her
was that?
and hmm?
What was her name?
Oh, her name at the time was CJ. Yeah, that was her nickname. Yeah.
Got it.
And she set a standard for me in terms of like what I want out of life. Because after meeting her, during the time I was meeting her, I had like a great job. I had a job doing computers for the school, and I also got a job outside doing computers. And I was doing computer gigs, and even I had like a computer business, but I didn't know how to get more clients at
So
that
like
time. So I was like,
what year is
this is,
that?
I was like 17. I was like 1997, 1998, around there.
1990. Okay, so like
Yeah.
we're working on the fucking dial-up internet.
Yeah, we're
You're
doing
a
dial up. HTML
little
is
bit
brand new.
little bit past your Commodore 64, but not much.
Windows 95 came out 3 years ago. um, dial up was a normal thing. And the internet was new. Web pages were brand new. Like people were like, why do we need a web page? But I knew how to program. I knew how to do Flash, 3D, all that stuff. And so I got a job doing programming and graphic design for this company. Um, and when I remember when they hired me, I I remember when they hired me, they were like, "Oh yeah, okay, so this is like a $10 an hour job, you know?" And I was like, "Oh no, I don't want to work here." And they're like, "What? What do you mean?" And I'm like, because I knew my dad graduated college recently, like 4 years ago, and he's getting paid like $35 an hour. And so because of that, I'm like, I know how to do what my dad does, kind of, right? So I wanted $25 an hour. And they were like, "What? You can't get $25 an hour. That's not normal." And I'm like, "Well, can you do 15?" And they're like, "Okay, look, we'll try you out for $15 an hour." And so I had a high paying job at like 16, 17 years old. I think it was high paying. I don't know.
You like numbers. You're already negotiating. I mean, I've known you long enough. Your brain works through systems, other stuff. I think you were doing all right.
Yeah, yeah. And then I was also investing in stocks. My dad gave me $2,000 as a stock account. I was investing in IPOs at the time, internet stocks.
Which ones
And
did you? Now I gotta know because I was fucking around with that stuff back then too.
I mean, everything was going up,
Yeah,
right?
it
So
was good. You just go out to eat on like a Friday night, and you go to like a Houston's, and everybody'd be sitting in the bar, and all of a sudden one IPO would take off, and somebody buy like the whole fucking bar of drinks, and it was a party. It was the thing. It was the Bitcoin of then.
exactly. And so I realized that IPOs were what was working, and so I would always listen to news, hear the next IPO coming out. If I like the idea or not, if I like it, I put all my money in it. And I grew my $2,000 account to 80,000, and in like a few months. And I was like, okay, why am I working? And then all my friends, they were like, Nick, you should take some money out. We can hang out with it, because I had friends that at the time were cooler friends now, not my nerdy friends. And
Those are not always the best, but okay.
right. But I never. But the funny thing is that as much as I were my friends and I hung out with them as much as I could, because I met a girl, and she lived in the opposite direction, I actually stopped hanging out with them. And as I dated this girl, she always wanted to see me. Like
I mean, who could blame her?
right. But no, like Chuck, it's like this. It's like we live like an hour and 10 minutes away from each other.
Oh my
Okay.
god, you're gonna have to label that one geographically undesirable.
Right, 100%. But again, this was my first girlfriend. I didn't even know I was allowed to have a girlfriend. I didn't even know I could talk to a girl. And so I was like hooked. And so whenever she wanted to see
And
me,
you're a young guy. You're 16. You're making money. You got a long distance girlfriend. You're probably a fucking stupid guy like me, and you watch your first in a car at 19 or some stupid shit.
no, not just that, like I would go see her, like she wanted to see me 3-4 times a day. I mean a week. I would go see her. So I would take that drive. And the thing about me was that at this age of my life, my school is amazing. My school, they all love me. All my teachers love me. All my teachers knew what I was capable of, what I had talent in. And so like they kind of like let me get out of school, early. And then I would go.
Nick does a really good job. He helps us with the computers. He's good with the
Exactly. I
numbers.
helped the whole school with computers,
Look the
everything.
other way. The kid's got to drive an hour and a half. He needs to get his dick sucked. I get it.
No, not even that. I just wanted to be with her. It was like so up until this point, again, I was not aware of how to be a boyfriend girlfriend.
Oh my gosh, you're like in love with this chick.
Yeah. Like you have to understand. Like if you ever meet my
I'm
son,
looking at your Nick. I'm looking at your face. It's like borderline, like fucking infatuation. Like this is.
it's not even that. It's more like I wasn't even aware of life. I wasn't aware of like you have to understand, like if when I was growing up, I didn't know I couldn't make money with stocks. I didn't know how to like I was just going to school to do what I'm supposed to do to get good grades, but I didn't know like it was for my future. I wasn't aware of that. I was just going through like a game, and that was just like a level to pass, but I didn't know you can score high or score low. I was just
So
scoring.
I get it, and like I mean, Christ, when I graduated high school, I completely expected there to be like a 13th grade after that. That
Yeah.
didn't exist, so I just went on to college. But I think so I'm gonna ask a question out of like left field. So you're obviously pretty gifted, right? Whether
I think
you
so.
yeah, I think you are too. I think a lot of people think you are, and I mean, you got a little touch of like just a different approach towards life. It's probably coupled with some fearlessness. Do you have some kind of formal diagnosis? I know that I'm dyslexic.
I'm pretty sure.
I know
So
that
the
I have oppositional defiant disorder.
so
But
I my parents, they weren't necessarily the best at English, at the time when I got diagnosed, right? But I was in special education all my life. I was in special education classes, not ESL classes, but like the class where everyone has some sort of issue, like ADHD or whatever. And
same,
I
bro.
and so I have documentation of whatever it is that I have. I just don't. I just never went to like look at it,
Well,
But I have it in my school.
I went to my school and actually picked up my case file.
Yeah,
Right? I put
I
my
should
child
do that.
business and start a scholarship, and it's like holy shit! Like so, every time somebody was sitting in a classroom observing, we're just observing me for the last fucking 10 years. And it's just pages and pages of notes. It's pretty fascinating, dude.
I had someone like that. I had a helper like that, and so like so for me, I never knew. Like I remember growing up being very oblivious to reality. I didn't know something was dangerous. I didn't know someone was like trying to beat me up. I didn't know. I just existed, and so this girl, when I was dating her, I didn't know you're not supposed to go see her every day just because she wants to. um, and
You're a
her
kid. You're having fun. Who the fuck cares, man?
yeah, and then her parents were like, "How is this kid able to be here every day and he lives an hour away?" you know, so they became really suspicious of like, is he like like a druggie, a drug dealer?
Yeah,
All this stuff. And then even when I would pick her up at school, and then the school, I would go to her school, and then her school, like principal and whatever, will eventually run into me, and they're like, "How are you here? Why are you here? How are you here?" And I told them I went to school in Morristown High School, and Morristown lets you leave the school early if you don't have classes. And then he called the school to verify all this BS just to make sure like I'm not some like bad person, you know.
little
But
did they know.
huh?
I said, little did they know.
Yeah, right. But like eventually, like what I got out of dating her was like I don't want to go to work, you know, because she always wanted to see me and I couldn't keep a job. But my job became more and more flexible. They were like, "Oh, you don't have to come in the morning. You can come in during lunchtime." And then eventually, like, you can just come in whenever you want, because the work I was doing for my computer company that I was working for I was the only one able to do it.
Yeah, and it's results based, and at a very young age, it sounds like you just flat out learned to design your destiny, which is fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, and so they became so flexible, but regardless of how flexible they were, eventually like it wasn't enough, and so I just like I told them I couldn't work here. I left that job like probably like 10 times, okay, and I came back 10 times, and so it's like we have a really interesting relationship. But from that, once we eventually split up, I had to figure out like a new passion, like a new person, because I was in love with her, and so when we split up, I felt like something was missing in my life, and I had to find a new thing, and I have some crazy stories, Chuck. Like So
I got time.
I'll tell you some crazy ones. So here's a crazy one. So my friend was was doing a business where she threw parties. Okay,
Okay.
so it was so she's Vietnamese, so she throws what's called Vietnamese parties, right? So we would invite singers or DJs that are very popular to that community, our community, and then we would sell tickets for the attendees. And so I went and I made her website for her because she's a friend of mine, and then she flew me down for the party. It was awesome. And then she showed me also who her competitor was. This was like in Louisiana at the time. And so she showed me her competitor, and I emailed her competitor. I was like, "Yo, your website is like disgusting looking. Like, you got to do something about it." And then the competitor asked me for help. She's like, "Can you help me?" And I told her, "Okay, yeah, I can help you." And then so I helped the competitor. I helped my friend. I helped the competitor, and then the competitor was like, "I'm starting a modeling company. Can you help me uh, make a calendar?" And I'm like, "What kind of calendar?" At the time, Fast and Furious was like a thing, just came out, and car
The
show.
the the original.
Yeah, the original one,
We're
right?
not. We're
Oh,
not like fucking
maybe it didn't
Fast
come
and
out yet. Maybe it didn't come out yet, but because I wasn't on top of it. But car shows were like everywhere. Okay,
Okay.
import car shows were everywhere, and so what happened was this girl came up with this idea of having great looking like hot girls with next to these cars, and then we take photos of the cars and the girls, and then like they would promote their company, and then she would get paid for doing the photo shoot, and then she would make these calendars and sell them around the country.
Uh-huh.
So I was like, well, I know how to do photography. I can do photography for you if you want. And she's like, okay. And so she flew me out to do photo shoots for these girls and cars, right? And it was so funny because I would always be around all these hot girls, like 5, 10, 20 hot girls because they're all trying to be in the calendar.
Isn't it
And
amazing how fucking motivating that can be?
but here's the thing, Chuck. I didn't care about any of those girls. I was like, here's the craziest part. Like,
I didn't care about them either. I'm still gonna run through them, Nick.
no, no, no. That's the thing, Chuck. That's how crazy I was. Like, this is my mind was so different. Like, I remember she would put me in the hotel rooms with all these girls. Like, I was sleeping in the same bed with all these girls, but my mind was like, I never even saw these girls. That's how crazy it was. And
No, you
like,
were focused on what you were doing. You probably had blinders on. It was just like,
yeah, I had 100% blind. I had not only blinders, I had like things in front of my face. Like, I can't even see even though you're in front of me.
the
Yeah.
girls like, what are you doing, Nick? My job.
No, I wasn't even that. It was like I missed my ex girlfriend. So
Oh
I
my
wasn't even like oh, I care about the job. I just missed my ex girlfriend. Okay, and I didn't care how hot these girls were. It didn't matter. I didn't care. They were sleeping on the same bed. I didn't care. Okay, I was just there to sleep. Like, I'm just getting my rest. That's it. And all these guys that were around me at the time that were trying to help with the photo shoot, they're like, Nick has the dream job. but they don't realize that I'm oblivious to it all. That's how crazy it was. And that's just like an image of like kind of like how I was even before I had a girlfriend. I had like this, not just blinders, but like I couldn't even see you even if you were in front of me.
One of my many diagnoses is perceptually impaired. You might be that way too.
Yeah, I agree with you. And so I made this calendar. She invited me to her parties, and then that's how I learned how to do events. So once I came back to New Jersey, I was like, I'm gonna throw a party. So this is like I was 18. Okay, I'm gonna throw parties, and so I started renting nightclubs and throwing parties. And because I saw how my friend and her competitor do the party, for whatever reason, I just thought it was book the right DJ, make a lot of noise, and a lot of people are gonna come out. And crazy enough, the formula works. And so that's how I got into it. And so again, I'm this oblivious kid who's not looking for any girl, but I'm throwing the biggest parties in New York, New Jersey, and Philadelphia at age 18 that were like Asian specific parties.
I get it. I had a really weird experience like this in high school and college, to where like I'd bust my ass like the beginning of any semester and like throw a party and make sure everybody had a lot of fun. And I would go around and I would round up all the freshman guys and bring them into like a room and go, "Are you guys having fun here? Because I
Yeah.
need some of this." It's $5 a head for girls, 10 for guys. You have to
Right.
have
Right.
as many girls as guys. Now go. The money comes back to me 5 p.m. every night. It does. We have a party. And it's a formula.
The weirdest part was like like a lot of people that were my guy friends, they were like, people go to the parties and things like that to meet girls, have drinks and meet girls. And I was the guy throwing these parties. But the funniest part was like everybody's like, oh wow, like all these girls would try to flirt with me and try to be my friend so that they can get free admission or free drinks, But because I was again still hooked on my ex-girlfriend, I was like, oh no, like just go pay, or go do this, go do that.
And that just made them want you even more. You were a fucking player and you didn't even know. I mean, I got to a point where I didn't even show up at my own parties. I ran a bar at the same time. I'd come
Right,
back
right.
from like 2 a.m. Somebody would give me like a couple G's in cash, right? And some girl would come up to me and go, "Oh my God, we're at Chuck's house. This is great. Have you met him?" And I've been like, "I've heard he's everything to everybody and maybe
Right.
something to one girl."
So
Oh
you were
my
doing
God,
this too. At that
I'm
age.
him.
Yeah. One
I
of
mean,
the, I guess,
that might be the
one of the,
entrepreneurial spirit.
I don't even know if I was an entrepreneur. I just felt like it was. I just saw my
Let
friends do
me
it.
listen. You just didn't accept it yet, and neither did I. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, people want a party. People need fake IDs. Hey, money follows pussy. If I can get as much of that here as possible, guys will
Right.
come and pay double to hang out in a fucking house with shitty kegs of beer and a ton of girls. Let's do it.
The funniest part is, for me, when I was throwing the parties, I was doing it because I like the music. That's the funniest part. Like, and people would always ask me like, "Oh, why you book these DJs?" I'm like, I like how they like the music they make. But
Wow. I was doing it because I liked to party and I didn't want to leave my house, drive anywhere, and I wanted the girls to come to me.
right. So mentioning about girls, I remember this one incident. I was 20 at the time, and I was at the nightclub, Club Chrome in Philadelphia, and there was these 3 Asian girls there, and
I
they
don't know
knew
why,
me.
but I have.
Huh?
I don't
Oh,
know
okay,
why,
yeah.
but I have.
So they asked me, hey, you want to have a drink with us? So they knew who I was, and they're like, hey, you want to have a drink with us? And the club owner was like right there, and I was like, I'm actually not old enough to drink. I'm actually not even allowed to be in the bar area. That's what I told them. And they were like, what? No way. You didn't get it through the party. How could you not be old enough to drink? And then the club owner, because he was right there, he was like, yo, Nick, just come over here, dude, get a drink. Again, I was oblivious to this world.
And
I
that
didn't
was
know.
the first night Nick Tang got wasted.
No, I just had a drink, and I just talked to the girls a little bit. Told them I was 20, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's ridiculous." And then I left. It was crazy. Like that was me. It wasn't. I didn't throw the parties to meet girls, but a lot of my friends came to the party to meet girls, and I was
I
this
feel
shy
sorry for my
kid.
son when the girls came.
The craziest part is like I was this shy kid. Like no one thought that I could even pack or knew this many people, But I didn't know these people. I just knew how to cut deals with promoters.
Yeah,
So
you had no game, but you put yourself in a position of power, and by default,
that's
you were
the,
the guy.
the weird. You know what it was? It wasn't even me. It was like I had no game. I did marketing. Whoever reached out to me saying, "Hey, I can help you market," I was like, "Okay, help me market. I'll give you half the ticket sales that you produce." You know, and so that was my game. Like it was a game with them more than a game for me. And eventually the party became so big, they were like, wow. Like, and the thing is, I also always gave the promoter the game as the I always play with them in a way where they were the celebrity of the event, not me. And so no one really actually knew it was my event. until
Yeah.
like way later.
That's pretty freaking
Because
awesome.
I was never like the stage guy.
I can completely freaking relate. Like I said, I didn't even show up to my own parties. I have a friend from high school that I still talk to every once in a while. He owns Catch in Manhattan. It's like one of these fucking premier nightclubs in like
Yeah,
DeKalb.
yeah,
He started exactly the same way, Nick.
yeah,
He just never stopped. He found
yeah.
network. He didn't. He's still throwing parties.
Right, right. Yeah, exactly. It's a
Now he's on the cover of GQ. So
oh
go
wow.
figure. Yeah, you got the
But like
fashion, not me.
but like yeah, I never knew like all the opportunities I had access to. I was just throwing the party because I like the music. I didn't
And
know I didn't know any of those games.
okay, but you were probably arguably in it for the right reasons, and you learned a lot from it, and a lot of that transitioned pretty well into the business that you have today.
Yeah, 100%. I think so that's a big segment of my life: meeting my first girlfriend, learning how to throw parties, and then losing all my money. You want to hear about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've done it a few times. It's a great fucking experience, right? I mean,
100%.
I had 80 grand. I lost in a fucking day. I left. I started my business. Told the world I was going to be a million. About 30. Did it. Fucking 3-4 years later, like lost 5 mil. Went bankrupt for 1.8. Made it all back in 6 months. Fucking took my 30s off. Did all my traveling. Got my kids. Basically fucking retired. And I'm like, I don't have to work. Why am I thinking about blowing my fucking brains out? It's just because I stopped chasing fucking excellence. Like you need something as a man just to keep going after, or why live?
You know,
And
I
it's,
agree. I agree with you. I mean, I think I was doing the parties to keep myself busy.
yeah,
Because
absolutely. You have. I watch you think like in that networking event the other night, how you systemize stuff and like you tell everybody like, they're not going to do anything, but you have an active mind. And like one thing I've kind of always enjoyed about like being in your presence, it's a fun thing to watch unfold. I'm like, this kid's brain dissects shit like mine.
right.
Maybe a little differently, and that's why it's interesting. But
I think
still,
the funny part is I think I'm not aware of it. Like I dissect stuff and then I don't do something with it, or it's like it just comes natural is what I'm saying.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, like, and I've studied myself a lot. Like, I've gotten psychologists, other stuff to try to figure out why I can do a lot of things that I can do. And a
right,
lot of it is because I'm like dyslexic, and my brain takes things apart faster than I can comprehend.
right.
Finds the solution. I've had to learn to slow that down to teach people and relay information. And I'm really just wondering, your brain has got to be doing something like that because you see the whole field. You're like a quarterback.
Right. Yeah,
You
no,
know, you know every move on the board, and you know how to get all the shortcuts around it. And it's like I can make as much money as possible by doing as little as possible, making everybody work for me while making them make more than they would at a normal job.
right, right. Yeah, no, it's like a an automatic thing. It's something I love to figure out. You know, it's not even automatic, but it's something I love to do, and because of that, it became
It's your
automatic.
game. It's your.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's my
Tell
game.
people, I am like my wife now. Like this is like my fucking well, technically it's my second, not my third since I've known you. But like she's like, I've never met anybody like you. Like you explode out of bed in the morning and you look forward to going to do what it is that you do. I'm like,
But
yeah,
here's the thing, Chuck.
I like it.
But here's the
You
thing.
yeah, you work at night. I know.
No, no, no. I was never actually aware of this until probably until 5 years ago. So me back when I was like 20, I was just doing what I was doing. Like I was not aware that I was doing something right or wrong.
You were doing
I
you.
was I was just like, oh, I thought the party idea was good. It gives me an opportunity to listen to music I like, and it made money. And I was like, okay, like I wasn't aware I could be a star. I wasn't aware I could be famous. I wasn't aware I could meet a lot of girls.
Nick, I
Like
was doing this so people could like fall in love with you. They're gonna fucking hate you. It's like this kid's accidentally successful.
that's it. That's it. That's it. Like that's the thing, Chuck. Like I was in the bed with like these models. I didn't even sleep. Like I didn't want to rub shoulders with them. That's how crazy it was. Okay. And so like it was all accidental. That's how crazy it is.
Mm.
Okay. And And so I was throwing parties in 3 states. Eventually, expand the business into Michigan, Ohio, Kansas, Louisiana, even where my friend is. And so I was like, the party business was getting played out. Okay, because I felt like I was so good at it that it wasn't a challenge anymore. And car shows were going on everywhere. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a car show. And so I rented a convention center. Okay, like 100 something thousand square feet. Um, and it's funny, it's because it's like it's a lot of space.
Oh my God! Did you start the Jacob Javits Center car show thing?
No. Jacob Javits is like a million something a day. Okay, just a book.
You and I may be the only 2 people that have priced that out.
Yeah, exactly. That's the funniest part. Like I called even like that stadium in Secaucus, I called them for a quote, at age like 20, 21. And they were like a million something.
25, I'm pricing out the Apple billboards on top of the Lincoln Tunnel. I get it. Like,
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You're doing it to do it.
But yeah, again, I didn't know I couldn't do it. That's the thing. I didn't know I couldn't do it. And so I was like, where am I going to do this car show? And then I called a bunch of convention centers, and I found out that the Ohio Convention Center, Columbus, Ohio Convention Center, cost like, I don't know, like 10 grand or something. It wasn't that much for like 100,000 something square foot. And I was like, okay, it's 10,000. It's not much. Let's give it a shot. Let's try to do a convention. Let's try to do a car show, not even being in the same state, and try to pack the event. And again, I didn't know I couldn't do it. The reason why I picked the convention, that location, was because I did research and I saw that all the other car shows were like 200, 300 miles away. And I felt because other car shows were so far from this location, if I do something there, everybody would come, and I gave it a shot and it worked. And again, it's I don't even know how I did it. Like looking back at it today, I don't even know how I did it. I just I reached out to a bunch of car clubs in the area. I gave them free tickets. I gave them a kind of sales that they do sales. I gave the car shops same thing, free tickets. Gave them access to tickets to kind of sales that they did sales. I gave them free vendor tables to the event. And day of the event, I had like 100 something cars at the show. I had over like 16,000 people show up. I was like, again, I have no idea how they pulled it off, but it worked.
It's the same formula as throwing parties. It's the same formula as throwing networking events.
But
like
here's the thing, Chuck.
Like bump set spike,
But the craziest thing is, Chuck, is like it is the same thing, but I didn't realize any of that. Like I just came up with this idea and I was like, I think I can do it. Plus it's really weird because I'm from like 2 states away. So people are not even meeting me. People are not even meeting me there to cut this deal that I have this event. You know what I mean? So this was all like trust. And you know why? I think that why they trust me is because I had a website. I made this fancy website, and pretty sure because people didn't have websites. They were like, oh, this guy's got to be a big company of sort, and they gave me a shot. And that's the craziest part.
It's fucking awesome though. It worked.
It's crazy, Chuck. It's crazy. Like I said, like I don't know how I got from here to, to Thailand, from Thailand to America, how I grew up, how I met my first, like, I don't even, like, I look at my life journey as like, it's like I just look at my life as like I've been really lucky all my life, and I'm still lucky today. Like, and so I'm really grateful for like all my life experiences, and I feel like I've lived many different lives. Like going through the pirate incident, being totally oblivious to life as a child, and then doing business, being oblivious to how risky life could be, how dangerous money is, and then today I'm living a life where like I'm very aware of what I get myself into. But again, I did not tune into this until probably like 5-6 years ago. I actually started it tuning into this around the time I met you.
Nice.
But I was nowhere near as to like what I'm now.
Yeah, well, I'll be completely honest with you, Nick. Like I can remember crazy shit, like where people sat in like seminars where I met them in the first time or whatever, and like you were fucking locked on, dude. You were like undivided attention.
You know what it was? It was probably like I'm not even aware of how I am when I tune into things.
I mean,
But
I remember like looking at the whole thing, and like when I'm amped up, everything moves slower. I remember thinking to myself, like, I don't even think this kid blinked.
yeah, like I'm not there. Yeah, it's like yeah, that's exactly it. It's like I get lost. I
Yeah,
get lost. Yeah. That's what I mean when I say like I become oblivious. Like I'm not even aware I'm there.
we might also want to call that focused,
I don't know.
like laser focus, like absorbing just
Yeah,
everything
it's either
around you.
laser focus or I'm not aware I'm there. But something is listening. Like something is listening. Like I hear it.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not aware I'm hearing it, I hear it. And so with this car shows, I did a really great car show, and I was like, wow, that was amazing. Like I'm gonna do it now in multiple states, and give like this the same formula in multiple states, and that's where I messed up. I messed up because I again thought that the same formula could work everywhere, and I made a lot of investments where because one failed, the next one failed because it needed money from the prior one.
Yeah.
And after losing all my money, and I also
How much,
borrowed family money, all that stuff to do it.
how much did you lose?
It wasn't that much, but it was like it was all I had, you know,
I mean,
and
tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands.
something like that. Yeah, because I was also spending money. Like I had toys, you know, because I was always into cars. Like you can see in my wall.
Yeah, I know you posted a picture that Camaro or whatever. Like
Yeah, it was a Corvette. Yeah, yeah.
Corvette. And it's like the exact same one color like I rented when I was in Miami. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Jesus, don't fucking. This thing's a death trap.
Right.
No
I think
matter
they're
how
all
fast you slow down, just the back ass end would come out from underneath you at like 90 if you just floored it. It was crazy.
So I didn't tell you this, but like I had about 26, 28 points, not only on my license, but on my insurance. So my insurance for like a simple car was like $500 a month. That was my insurance payment. Okay. Because I had so many car accidents up until this point in my life. And so like it was very, very expensive. I was always
I can make some fucking horrible Asian stereotypical jokes.
again, like this was during the time, like remember during 2001 2002 it was like the cell phone was brand new. I had a cell phone. I was driving, talking on a phone. Like you're breaking all the rules, you know. I was texting and driving, and none of that was illegal at the time. And not only that, I had like a fast car, so whatever I was driving, I was destined to get wrecked, you know. And I also had money, so I would buy another one, and next thing you know, it's wrecked. But um, once I lost all my money, I felt like wow, life was over. I reviewed my life. I remember this one night. I reviewed my life. I was like, I got no money. I didn't do really good in school, so I'm not the smartest kid. I know I'm good at computers and stuff, but I can't read or write very well. What am I going to do with my life? You know? And so I said to myself, like, I'm going to go to school, make my parents happy, get my degree. And so I was like 23 at the time. And I went to school, signed up for school, took classes at Sussex County College. And then as soon as I could, I transferred to Rutgers for the business degree. And my first semester in, I ran into a classmate that was flipping houses. All right, he was a night owl just like me. I was like probably 25, 26 at the time. And he was just telling me, "Hey Nick, you should come out with me. Help me put up these bandit signs. We can buy a house." And I'm like, "How much money you got?" And he's like, "I got no money." You know, I'm like, "How can you buy a house with no money?" You know, and I also had no money, right? But I had money. So to me, I always felt like because every business I did prior up to this point required a capital investment. So when I
Yeah.
used to rent the clubs, I didn't do a deal where I split door with them. I instead paid for the whole night. Like I was like, look, I'm gonna rent the club. How much I gotta give you to rent the club? You know? And so that's how I knew how to do business up until that point. And I didn't believe that you could buy a house with no money. I didn't believe you could do anything without money. And I was again back in the stock game at the time, but IPOs weren't like everywhere now. They were the .com bubble bursted already. It wasn't in anymore. Money was slow in the market, and I was trying to figure out how to make money so that way I can build up my stock portfolio again.
Yeah.
And I got back into throwing parties, but it was like, do I really want to do this? So I was, I was just going to school just to make my parents happy. But my friend, he ended up changing his life. I saw where he lived. I saw the car he drove. We used to race behind Rutgers for fun. And I saw his life. I saw him. I knew who he was. And then like 6 months later, he was living in a luxury apartment in New Brunswick. He drove a brand new car, was dating a hot girl. And I was like, how did this guy's life change so much in just a short period of time? You know? And I realized that maybe what he said was real. Maybe what he said was real. And so because of that, I went online, did research, whatever I could online, went to the bookstore, read whatever books I could on how to get started. And I gave it a shot. I went out and put out bandit signs. But now, up to this point, I never knew there were guru classes. Okay, I never knew there was guru classes.
I found that shit out later in life myself too.
So, but I'm gonna tell you when I ran into the first class and your class. Okay, so I was doing marketing. I got a call. I did the band sign marketing. I got all these phone calls, and I remember because I'm not a fast reader, because like I said, I had a problem reading, and so I only knew how to read the chapter of the game I was on. Kind of like, oh, okay, marketing. This is what we're supposed to do.
Do you use the reading app on your iPhone?
Oh, I do. I have two of them. I have two apps. I have a really cool app. I have an app that will read any PDF. And
send me that app.
Okay. Yeah, that was like the magic app. That's
when I get PDFs, I just hand my phone to people in the office and they're like, read this.
Yeah. So I read books now that are not on Audible through this app. That like because there's certain books I want to read where no one's gonna read it because it's like I don't know, like thousands and thousands of pages, you know.
Yeah.
But because I got this app, it reads it to me. But back to what I was saying, yeah. So I only read the chapter I was on. So when I was in marketing or trying to do marketing, I read the marketing chapter. When people called me, I read the chapter where people were answering the phone, you know, and then once I got an actual deal, I was posting on this club or this website called RAIclub.com. I was posting questions and then people would give me answers, right? Like I said, like at the event a few days ago, they would give me the contract to use and all that stuff, and I would fill it out, right? And then at the time, the Real Estate Wealth Expo came around. And
wait, there's more.
And Tang, I was dating Tang at the time, and she wanted to go. She wanted to go see Tony Robbins. She didn't care about anything else. She wanted to go see Tony Robbins, right?
Was that your second girlfriend?
Yes, she's my second girlfriend. She wanted to go see Tony Robbins, right? And I was like, do we really have to go? She's like, yeah, come on, let's go. There's also going to be other real estate classes there.
Which year was this?
I think it was like 2008, 2007, around there. Okay.
I think I went to my first one 2004.
Oh, okay, yeah. So you were ahead of me. But like I didn't even know there was real estate gurus. I was just going to see Tony Robbins, you know. And when we went there, I saw that there were real estate topics, and then I one of the first topics I went to see was Dave Lindahl, where he sold like his one apartment to retirement or something like that, or one deal to retirement. So I bought that. And this is the first time I've ever experienced a stage sale Okay. So of course you never experience it, you're gonna buy it, right? So I bought
Yeah.
his program. I've never attended it, right? Until like 10 years later, but I bought it. And then I bought this guy named Don Burnham's program. Okay. So Don Burnham was probably the first program I bought was his. The second one I bought was Tony. And then when I heard Dave Lindahl speak, I mean, not Dave Lindahl, Tony Robbins speak, I was like, oh my God, it was amazing. I ran to the back to buy something and he didn't have anything to sell. I was like, what? I bought two programs and Tony didn't have anything to sell. So I was like so confused, you know? And I was like, why does it, how come he spoke here? Like, I was actually mad that he didn't have something to sell. Okay. And I was like, Trank, we gotta.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
That's the craziest part. Like, he didn't have anything to sell. And I felt like he was doing us a disservice. So I told Trang, we gotta buy something. So she ended up buying his program like later that week, at home, right? But so a few weeks later, I attended the Don Burnham event, okay, in New York. And at that event, I was supposed to learn everything about wholesaling, all right? And of course, when you go to that event, they're gonna give you whatever they give you, and then they're gonna sell you something else, right? And so that's where I got my first, my first or second sales contract. I think that was my second sales contract because my first sales contract, I bought it from US Legal Forms. And so I used that one for my deal, right? And then because I went to Don's class, he's like, this is the contract you're supposed to use because the other ones don't have the exit clauses and stuff like that. And so I had to use his stuff, right? And then eventually I closed that deal with a lawyer, and the lawyer was like, no, you got to use my contract because this is none of that stuff. But again, I didn't know what was real, what was not. I just knew that.
I don't think many people do at that stage of the game. And one of the things that I always use to remember it, why people buy that shit is, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king.
Right, exactly. You're 100% right. So like, I didn't even know that that was even like the art of the game, meaning like that's how some of the gurus work and how even the lawyers work, because technically they can review your contract, whatever contract you use, and allow you to use it. It's just that in a way they don't want to waste their time. And
yeah, and they want to get paid for it. And if you go to a surgeon, he gets paid to operate. So
right, but I didn't know any of that, so I just listened literally word for word. And so that deal was already going on, my first deal, and then I ran into Chris Goodson's real estate club, and I was like, oh, wait, there's a real estate club? What is that?
How did you find it?
To be honest, I have no idea. I don't remember how I found it.
You know how I found it?
How did you find it?
I found it. Some woman, she's still on my phone to this day, like either called one of my ads in the paper because I had like an ad running consistently for years, and she wanted to be like a wholesaler, and she invited me, and then like never showed up.
Okay.
And I was when I met him.
I think I found it probably on the RAI Club. I'm not 100%, but I went out for Ankit Dougal's short sale presentation because he was doing. He was. I think he was like one of the first speakers at the time. I remember Ankit was really skinny, really scrawny, and he was like nerdy, right? And then years later, I meet him again. He's buff, like very confident.
Yeah, I just had him over here like probably a few months ago in the gym with COVID working out. He came by for a workout. It was pretty cool.
That's what I'm saying. So like I remember the Ankit back then, and I remember meeting you coming into that event, and I had my pinstripe suit on because I thought you had to dress up for this stuff.
Back in the day, you might have had
to. Right. But so I came to the event all dressed. I listened to Ankit, and he was talking about short sales. And then through, I think Chris's club is when I started realizing that you did classes. And then I went to your class, your wholesale class, I believe. I forgot what class it was, but I signed up for it with my best friend.
It was the Turning Houses class, Nick.
Yeah. It was a Turning Houses class.
If I looked hard enough, I could tell you the date and time you signed up and who you
signed up. It was my friend never came with me, the one that signed up.
You never came to some of the other ones you signed up for, but you just bought everything.
I think I bought 3 of them. I went to 2 of them. I went to that
You
one, and I
went to
went
that
to
Marinov like short sale thing we put on when Marinov
yeah,
was
yeah. And then I didn't
and
go to the 3rd one.
no.
I think by then I had like so much stuff going on. Um, and I had to figure out my own thing that I was doing because I was at the time I had a lot of deals and I didn't know how to manage it. Because so what happened was once I did my first deal, I told my friend, "Hey, his name is Dimitri." I was like, "Dimitri, I just did a deal. It's a short sale. I made a lot of money. If you have short sales, give it to me. I'll do it for you." And so he was already in the business, and he gave me like 20 short sale deals. And then I talked to somebody else, and they gave me another 20. And so I had so many short sales going on. I was like, I'm not gonna do anything else but short sales, because
I remember that.
yeah, yeah, and I thought it was like the thing, and then I ended up running into Dave Oswald. I don't know if you remember Dave.
I still talk to Tom and Dave every now and then.
Yeah, I used to hate Dave because of our relationship, of
We
what
uh
happened.
we had an odd rekindling where I think he came to one of my seminars and he was writing down names of people to mentor, and I walked into the bathroom and I saw a list of names of people in my class that he was going to talk to.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we were late for class. And he's like, I
Well,
was at church, and I picked up the notebook and just went, "Did God tell you to steal from me?
right.
Now, you work for me. I'm going to put you up on stage. You're going to mentor people under my umbrella, and now we're friends." But that's what guys do. It is what it is. And I like the kid, to be honest with you. It's just we got off on the wrong foot.
Well, I to be honest with you now, like I love Dave. It's just
Yeah.
at that time, but
Not
like
back
I
then.
didn't. So what happened with me and Dave? If you want to hear it, I don't know if you want to.
I mean, you can tell, Nick, we're over an hour already, and like
Right. Yeah. How long is this thing?
I don't even know if I'm halfway through what I want to get
You're
through.
not.
So
You're not. Because we're not even talking about what I'm doing today.
no, what I'd like to do, if it's okay
Yeah.
with
Let's talk
you,
about what you like to do.
can we book a part 2?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, so tell me the David Oswald story if you'd like to, and let's book a part 2. We'll get it in the book.
Okay. So I'll wrap it up with the Dave Oswald story.
By the
So,
way, this is all great shit, Nick. This is fucking a lot more than I expected. So thank you. Like,
oh
I
no,
think you
anytime.
really enjoy this. Yeah, thanks, brother.
So, yeah. So I mean, there's also like I can tell you in the story with Matt Marinoff. Like back then, so I was not doing education classes at the time. Um, I was working with Dave Oswald. So up until this point in my life, I was always the behind the scene guy. Like I was always afraid of being known for anything.
Me too.
So
That's
so
why I
even
had.
that's why you had who?
I said I was too. That's why I had to do it. I mean, I don't want to take up too much of your time. You want to know why I learned to speak publicly, Nick?
Why?
2004, I went to the Learning Annex. I bought a class. It was like one of these Ron LeGrand classes.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
went all fucking in, quit my job. None of the shit worked. Literally mailed the guy envelopes that were black with checks. Like, fuck you, I did it anyway. I'm going to come to your seminar and kick your ass, right? Like terroristic threats. They took me aside, gave me all of his shit for free if I do one of his testimonials and a coach and some other shit. The next year, I go back to the Learning Annex. I talked to like Robert Sheeman and shit earlier. He got up on stage. He'd MC it. He's like, I'm dyslexic. He gave me his book, right? I went back the next year with my tax return. It's like I made $200,000 out of a bedroom in my parents' house. He's like, holy shit. He gave me a cell.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
introducing me to all the speakers. 2005, I'm bringing my lawyer, my accountant, my fucking realtor, my mortgage. I'm buying out like the front row VIP section. 2006, I have like 15 people there with me on my team, rolling deep, and I'm bored. And I just start framing out the conversations, and so it's like, tell them what you're going to tell them. Tell a little bit about yourself. Make sure it's emotional, heart wrenching. You sound like a dumbass. Tell
I
them.
remember you. Yeah, I remember you.
I mean,
Being
I
very
spent
good.
2 days just framing it out, and I was like, the world needs something that works here. There is nothing for the Northeast. And I identified a need and created a product. And it was exactly what I was doing in business. So it
Right.
worked. but still, like I've heard you say before, you can give people everything and they still won't fucking do it. They're like the people that
I
buy a
agree.
gym membership and don't go.
I agree with you. For me, like I didn't realize any of it. I was like at least 27, 28, 29 at the time. And I was so I was still the behind the scenes guy.
Yeah, it was the
Because
same thing. I was like, I can solve the problems, but
yeah, but I don't
I
want
am
people to
I
know.
am horrified to speak in front of a group of people. Terrified.
Not even the group, but like I was afraid to be a leader. Like I
Yeah.
wanted to be a part of a team. You know, I didn't want to be the guy that ran the team.
I didn't even realize I was one until people would go, "Holy shit. How old are you? You're 26 and you just walked in with your lawyer, your accountant, your realtor.
Right.
I got all these fucking people." And I'm like 26 and every one of them's over 30 or 40. I'm like, I guess I'm doing it. Like a little bit of that obliviousness that we were talking about earlier.
Exactly. Yeah. But I was aware that I didn't want to be a leader. I was aware that I wanted to be behind the scenes.
Well, too bad. You are one now. So,
but I'm gonna tell you when I made that shift. So, and then we can end it, and then we'll do a part 2.
You got it, bro.
So again, like even with the party scene, even with the car shows, I was behind the scenes. No one knew like who I was, and so when I was doing these deals, and I was always looking for someone to work with that was like the leader. And I ran into Kevin Lavonis and Emerico, and I ran into also Dave Oswald.
You know, Americo passed away, right?
No, I know. I'm gonna tell you the story with me and him too. You it kind of intertwines with this story, this segment. So I did a deal with Kevin Emerico. So first of all, I met Kevin Emerico when they were doing the Dave Oswald event at the Hilton Hotel in Edison, where Dave came out. There was smoke, like, and there was like Diamonds Are Forever song, and Dave presented short sales to people, and that's when I was like, wow, Dave is like the shit, right? And I was so impressed by his presentation, and then I was so like, again, I was very unaware of speakers and how the stage worked. And then I also was friends with with Emerico and Kevin, and I was like, yo, you guys did a great event. This was the first event where John and Randy and Kevin and Emerico teamed up. Yeah, they teamed up to do this event. Dave was supposed to speak, not sell. Kevin told Dave to sell, and so that's why they split up right after. And John and Randy started NYSN on their own. Kevin and Enrico went their own way.
I remember that too. I have a picture of all of them together, and I mean, Jesus, what's his face? Tang grabber. I don't even think he shaved.
I remember John when he was shy. Okay. Yeah. I remember John when he was like, yo, you want to go on stage and speak? I was like, no. He's like, I don't want to either. So what's great about, I guess, this story is like we've known each other at like such different phases of our life. And then we've seen each one of us like grew, to somebody else. It's so that's why it's so beautiful. But like back then in the moment, like I decided I was gonna team up with Kevin and Enrico. And so I decided to team up with Kevin and Enrico. We did our first deal together. I found the deal. I found the bar. I did the short sale. I did everything, Chuck. Okay. And we got paid 80 grand. Okay. And by the way, like they literally didn't do anything other than help me close the deal because we didn't know how to close it. Okay. And in the end, I got paid like 20,000 out of the 80,000. Okay. And it was like 25,000. And then Enrico and Kevin each got their 1/3. And I was like, you guys just help me do this one part, and you guys got paid 2/3. That's when we broke off. So we started working together, and then we broke off.
You had all the sleepless nights. You did all the heavy lifting, and
that's what I felt.
They called the lawyer and the title company, and so we talked them through it.
And so after that experience, I hated Emerico, because of what happened. I felt like they stole from me, And so I opened up my own office across the street from theirs. Okay. I I started working with Dave Oswald because I knew Dave was another leader in the game or player in the game, and Dave was actually feeding me deals, short sale deals, because he was doing short sale classes, and he was always inviting me to speak about how to negotiate the short sale. And it was like months and months later after working with him, like I had a friend named VJ and Tang, and they were
I
like,
know,
"This
I
Dave."
know VJ well. VJ's still
Yeah,
one of
yeah,
the,
exactly.
yeah.
And
I
VJ was
think I got VJ's first testimonial or some shit. It's there.
yeah, I think so too. And I remember VJ was like, "Yo, does Dave really know how to process short sales? Because he doesn't seem like he does." And so he encouraged me to ask Dave one day, "Does he know how to do it?" And then Dave was like, "I can figure it out," something like that. And I'm like thinking in my head, "You can figure it out. That means you don't know how to do it. That means that you never did it, and then you're teaching someone how to do something that you never did." You know. So that's what I felt about it. And so after that,
I know exactly what you mean. It's like if you want to learn to climb a mountain, you got to learn from a mountain climber, not somebody who read a
exactly,
book.
not from a book. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so after that, VJ was like, "Yo, you can't work with this guy. You got to figure out how to like stop him, blah blah blah." And so I started my education company because of Dave Oswald. And I'm not bad talking him. I don't want to say that he's a bad person. But back at that time, I was really angry of Dave. I was angry of Kevin and Americo, and I was also angry of Dave and Dave Oswald.
And now you
And
probably want to thank them.
what happened?
Now you probably want to thank them.
No, I do. So I started my education company just to compete with Dave. And then as I started that, I had to learn how to speak. And I remember speaking when I was just trying to speak. I wasn't even like I was just trying to make sense. I didn't even know what I was.
I remember thinking to myself, this kid is horrified. He knows what he's talking about. He's just
But
got to
that
get
was
it
it.
right. Like I feel like I could feel like the nerves.
Yeah,
When
yeah.
New York or something like that, like the Eagle's Nest, like there was just like a tension.
Right.
But then he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. But I don't know how to share it, you know? And I remember I was also like Matt Oswald was doing classes and I was doing classes and I felt like Matt knows what he's doing, but I have a different way. So I felt like Matt was a competitor and I felt Oswald was a competitor. But my relation with Oswald was I don't think he knows what he's doing. And because of that, he shouldn't be teaching. And then for me and Matt, I had a competition with him in terms of like he knows what he's doing, but I have a different way of doing it, and I think my way is better. And so I was like battling everybody at that time in terms of like being like the short sale guy, you know. Oh,
Well, maybe just being a young guy in your 20s too. You just want to fucking kill and win and be the guy.
I don't even know why I was doing that, but looking back at it now, like I was just being a kid in a way.
I mean, it's still, and you know, like I was at your networking event the other day, and I'm listening to these people ask the stupidest fucking questions ever. And it's like I have to walk out before I kill a newbie.
Right. I saw your wife walk out. I was like, I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Yeah, no, she's like really pregnant, but she was like went to go get something to eat, but still.
No.
I'm listening
totally
to people like just talk about marketing. I'm like, oh my god, I'm dying. Like,
right.
And I'm looking around the room, and I'm like, I've seen these people in these classes for 10 years, and they're still not doing anything.
Right. I mean, something's gonna give them the kick. We don't know what it is though. But so at that time, I was just doing the classes because I felt like everybody was doing it incorrectly or whatever, and so I made sure to get really good at sharing what I know, and I was trying to share with everybody possible, and I got a lot of deals from that. It was a great way to partner with people to generate deals, and I think it was until like 3 years later. By that time, I was out of short sales. I was more into like fixing and flipping houses, buying and holding houses, and I realized, hey, I'm in a great point in my life. And I realized, like, you know what? Wow, like, if what happened didn't happen with me and Americo and Kevin, and if what happened didn't happen with me and Dave Oswald, like, I wouldn't be here,
Yeah.
you know? And so I actually reached out to them. I talked to Americo. I was like, yo, bro, like, I remember what happened. Um, I don't actually have any hard feelings. I understand what happened that way. But I think if it didn't happen, I wouldn't be where I am. I think I'm doing because of it. I'm doing great. I think you're doing great too. And America at the time, I was opening up like pawn shops like everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, and he was like, "Yeah, man, I've been doing good, blah blah blah." And we've talked about like doing things. We even hung out. We've hung out like once or twice after. It was me, Enrico, and Kevin, and even John Steinberg. We all came out like to have like it was a day where like it was faces that you would never thought would run into each other again to talk, to hang out,
And
and
peace with me.
it was like that night, and it was awesome, And then I also reached out to Dave Oswald to talk to him and thank him for what happened and the experience. But I don't have his number. I just talked to him on Facebook, and but I don't. He doesn't check his messages and stuff like that, so he never replied to me.
He's in Florida. When we get off this, I'll send you his number.
Okay.
Probably talked to him a year or two ago. I mean, similar situation, falling out. Made my peace with all those guys. I even gave Americo, like my trainer for the Mr. America. He was getting in shape, and I don't know. It's weird how shit happens in life, and you're angry about it at the time, and then later you're like, yeah, but that gave me the fucking push. Like that lit the fire.
Do you know what? It's like it's not like looking back at it now. I don't even know if it's a push, but like it just gave me a different direction. Like wrong or right.
Yeah, I've had people tell me like, but isn't that living at cause? Yeah, cause should affect succeed, but.
And so the way I look at life now, Chuck, is like this. I look at it as like we're gonna go through crazy experiences, good or bad, but it's really a movie, and there's gonna be people doing these roles, good or bad roles to us, but they're really just acting out a scene that they were supposed to act out, and we're gonna have these feelings out of that experience, but don't hold that emotion to them. Like, don't hold it against them. It's just us going through a scene, and you won't appreciate it or understand it until years later. And
yeah,
so
it's maturing in general.
yeah, exactly. And so to me, like everything that's bad that ever happened to me years later, I'm so grateful it happened. And so now these days, whenever I go through something bad, if like I'm like I don't even feel it anymore. I'm like, okay, this is for something in the future, and I'm not gonna get it until later. And because I'm not gonna get it until later, I know I will get it later. And because of that, I don't even waste my time going through the distress of it, because going through the distress doesn't fix anything.
Nick, I get it. Believe me, I get it. Like I met you and started teaching people real estate shit and conquered my fear of public speaking. Because I got arrested and got a DWI, and there was no fucking Uber, and it was like, shit, how am I gonna buy a house? I'm gonna have to train people to do it for me.
I'll tell you something that you
I
share
made
with
a lot of
me.
money, and I didn't get the DWI. But anyway, that's another story.
I want to share something that you taught me, that you shared with me that I thought was really impactful for my life. So early on, I think Turning Houses event, you talked about how you operate as if like not a robot, but like you look at it as like what you learn from a book is like a program being downloaded into you.
Yeah, I don't even read. I
No,
put your book in and upload shit to my head.
but that's what I meant. Like the analogy that I got was like it's like a software being installed, or a program being installed, or it's armor being put on, like clothing. And so everything you were learning was kind of like, in a way, gear or a tool you could use. And I never saw life like that before.
But now I'm gonna take this shit into battle with me, and we're gonna go.
Yeah. And so 2007 when I was at your class. No, not 2007, like 2007, something like that. When I was at your class, and
2008, 9, something.
I
Yeah.
heard that, I was like, wow, this is all like different types of tools to become like an alternate machine in a way. And so I did that throughout like a good period of like 4 or 5 years thereafter. And I learned to equip myself to be like a better person, you know?
Yeah. You get a new piece of information, you're like, power up.
Exactly. Yeah. It was like a game character. You're developing your character, you know? And like I said, like I was very oblivious to like my existence. But it was around 2007 is when I started tuning in to hearing what you shared. Is when I started starting equipping, powering up myself, and then slowly I came to the perspective of like what I have now, which is all bad is actually good in the future. It's just you don't know it until then.
Yeah, it's everything is a learning experience, and all you can do is to learn more about that person, more about how they're going to react to things, more about different systems. It's all the fucking part of the bigger picture that we call life. As long as it gets you where you're going, man, use it. It's another tool in your tool belt. You're like Batman. You got the fucking utility belt now.
Yeah, I like I said, that analogy was a big part of. That's also a big part of changing my life, and I appreciate you for sharing that with me.
No problem, Nick. I appreciate you too. I've just learned a lot just from watching you, and honestly, I'm glad to call you a friend. And dude, I think we could probably do this for fucking hours and hours.
Yeah, we can. We can.
We're coming up on like an hour and a half.
Already.
Let's wrap it. I'd like to thank everybody
Yeah,
for
let's wrap
joining.
it.
And FLCS Part 2 to be continued. And I don't want to hit end broadcast yet, just because I want to get something in the book. You got a calendar in front of you?
I don't. Actually, I have my cell phone.
I don't know. I'm looking at my book here. I could do next Wednesday. I could do next Thursday.
Let me think. Next week I have 2 events.
Okay.
But you know what? The first week of February will be easier for me. So like Tuesday on February 1st.
What do I got in here? Hold on. January meeting. For directors.
Or at night. I'm always up at night.
Yeah, so I'm going to put you in February 1st, and we'll do 7 o'clock again. I'll message it to you on Facebook. I'll create the event. And, dude, this was a pleasure. And this was a lot of fun. It definitely made me smile. And I'm hoping somebody else gets something from it, and they learn more about you, and they love you and not hate you because you're basically a fucking prodigy. So,
thank you.
No problem, Nick.
So are you, Chuck.
Yeah, we're interesting creatures, me and you.
100%. Our life is a story.
Cool. I'm gonna share you something, right? You might be the first human being in history that ever bought me lunch.
Really?
I swear to fucking God, dude.
Why? That doesn't make any sense. People should be paying rent.
I have this fucking disgusting habit of paying for everything. Always.
Oh, okay.
And it was just like, I'm gonna buy you lunch. I'm like, you almost like put me in my place. I'm like, holy fuck, okay.
But here's the funniest part. I don't even know.
I just like let it happen. I'm like, this is different. This is weird. But okay, we're gonna do this.
I didn't even know.
Well, thank you for that. It was like, okay, it's okay to actually let somebody else take you out. It was interesting. All right, I got it in the book. I'm gonna message you on Facebook again. Anything changes, let me know, Nick. And,
it won't change. It should be good.
It should be good. I'm gonna create the event. I'll send it to you now. It was more than a pleasure, and hope everybody's good, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, John.
Thank you, Nick.